What's up, guys? We're talking calves, Achilles, ankle mobility, and even the bottoms of your feet and the tops of your feet. Basically everything from the knee down is what we're going to work on. Now, obviously we have a calf rolling mobility flow sequence, but just a recap and reminder, if you guys are never rolling your calves, I think you're doing your body a huge disservice. Honestly, if you ask me what's the most important joint in the body, it's the ankle, because if you don't have ankle mobility and your ankles don't work, you can't walk, and that would drastically change your quality of life. So it's important. And when I roll the calves, there's a handful of ways I like to go through it, but the most popular, I typically start like right, obviously above my shoe, and I like to cross the top leg over the bottom leg, and my calves are actually super tight right now, and I just do a slow, just kind of flossing or like a slow wiggle from left to right. And if you think of the calves as like steps of a ladder, like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, just go on step 1 there for a little bit. And if it feels fine, most of you guys are probably okay. You scoot your butt forward to like, let's say step 2, so we're moving up the calf and just slowly working away. And you might find some like tight or trouble spots. You know when they're gonna be there. You guys will feel it, especially if this top leg is putting any weight on it at all. You're probably going to find the tenderness. Most of you, it's about the midpoint of the calf where you find it really gets tight. And so again, slowly, just working your way, cross fiber, kind of just flossing. You can go front to back too. I'm not against it, but slowly doing it. Even there, I like to wiggle a little bit. I'll slowly move it forward, and you might find a spot that's tight. So it's not this super fast. It's slow and controlled, really trying to dig in. Again, rotate the ankle, rotate the foot, internal, external, try to find the areas that you might have some issues and spend the time there. And again, 2-3 minutes aside, maybe more if you need to, it can go a long way. Now, you can also roll the fronts, which you've been through before. Typically, you guys don't have a lot of pain or restriction there, but everybody's different. I almost sit down on my own calf, and I'm just kind of pushing into it and letting my body weight do most of the work. And again, same thing, I can kind of hunt for any spots that are tight and really try to roll and just press through there to get everything kind of loose. So we're mobilizing the tissue there. Now, we can also stretch it, which I'll go through in a second, but what people don't do is typically enough ankle mobility to just get to moving through space. We do the same basic patterns over and over and over again. So if you do take a band, same thing that you guys would stretch with in terms of hamstrings, groin, hips, and I have it here, I can just rotate, whether it's counterclockwise, clockwise. I can do some, flexion extension type stuff. I can actually even sit down and lay back, and really basic stuff like if you guys wanted to rotate it, you can pull it, and you're just playing with it and kind of fighting against the resistance of the band. You could take it off. You can do, if you ever sprained your ankle and they have you go through like PT, you can try to like do the alphabet, like make an A, make a B, make a C. It doesn't really look like that with your foot, but like you feel like that mentally, and you're taking it through ranges of motion it typically doesn't go through. What I honestly do like to do on top of those is if you have a slant board, or even like if you have a dumbbell, you can put your foot in the middle. But if you're lucky enough to have a slant board, it's really basic. You can play through all the ranges to kind of stretch the calves out. I like to start typically towards the bottom here, and you can just sink forward. Now, I can try to keep that heel push and try to drive that knee closer to the toe. I can keep a straight leg, lean my body weight forward. I can sit here. I can let it relax. I can play around with it and find the spots where I find the best stretch. Now for here, even for me, it's pretty tight today. And sometimes I'll even try to dig down and just really drive the heel flush and try to get the knee as close to that toe as possible. You can pick it up a little bit. You can play with it. Again, we're just trying to find where we have restriction and eventually just get it loose. And most people don't spend any time doing this. And again, I think it's going to cause you problems on the road, and it really does restrict your range of motion. Even a lot of times when we see people squat, it's not just their hips because their ankles are so tight. It messes up the entire chain of what's going on. Also a nice thing, I'll take my shoe off, and most people never do this. Obviously, like we just talked about the calves, but you have muscles connected all around. So for me, just literally taking my shoe off and letting my toe drag and just rotating, even like this, just stretching this back foot. It's so tight. Mine tend to be quite a bit. Maybe it's my movement patterns. You guys might find the same thing, like it's just tight and bound up. So let it stretch and move it around. Also, if you have a racquetball, jug ball, baseball is great. Most people never roll the bottoms of the feet. Now, Heather's way better than me at doing this, even though I'm here every day. We have one of these at our house, and she uses it a ton. Your dog might want to play with it like it's a toy, but typically for me, even inside, the arch of my foot is super tender. You have so much connective tissue wrapped up down there. A lot of times it just builds up and builds up and builds up, and if you can get that loose, it can change everything in terms of the entire chain of what's connected to it. So again, find one of these, minute 2 on each side, really dig in and try to find the tight and trouble spots. See if it doesn't make a difference for you between the ankle mobility, the calf flossing, and then obviously the stretching of both front and back here with that together.